This is a quick online demonstration of the Cable online portal and how a dentist can log in and place orders with it for their chosen dental laboratory. So when a dentist logs in, at the moment we're logged in as a Dr. Tony Badfit, who works at Greenwood Dental Practice and predominantly orders from Knutsford Dental Laboratory. So this is our test data that we're working with today. When the dentist logs in, they're able to see their order history and the current status of each of these orders, as well as reviewing any attachments, lab zips, etc. We'll go into that in a bit more detail shortly. But what I want to show to begin with is how easy it is for that dentist to place an order for a particular product. So I'll run through this twice, but in the first instance I'll just show you how quick it is to actually add an order, and then we can review the detail of this in a moment. So all I'm doing here is selecting the detail of the product that I want to order, and then we go on and save it. And that's literally as quick as it can be once we get proficient with the system and once we're happy with the choices that we're making. So now I'll go ahead and add that order again in slow motion, if you like, and I'll talk you through the options and the selections I'm making to explain what's going on at each step. So initially we're defaulting to the current logged in user, which is our Dr. Tony Badfit at Greenwood Dental Practice. There are permissions here if we're trying to place an order and we're a practice manager or cluster manager. Obviously we might have selections here to be made, but predominantly those are going to be pre-filled for us. When we come to enter the patient details, we can complete these manually, but if this is a patient with which we've worked before, then Cable has history and knowledge of that, and we're able to just bring up their details. So it's more of a review rather than selecting everything again for the first time. Then we come to the type of order. So usually we're creating a new order, but we could be selecting a multi-stage order or indeed a remake, and I'll go through those scenarios shortly with you. So then we can select the dates that we're working to. So when do we expect to be able to send it to the laboratory, and when do we actually need it back? So in this case, let's pretend we need it back in a week. So let's give it a really short turnaround time, and let's simulate how that's going to look. Then we could attach attachments. So in this case, I've attached a picture of the patient's mouth, and I've attached that to the order, and that will become available for the laboratory when they come to process the order at their end. So now I come to select the products that I want to use, and you saw here I selected a recent product, which is something I'd ordered before, but in addition we could be selecting from our favorite products here as well. So we've got two lists here, which should make it a little bit easier for us to do recurring orders of the same products if we usually are dealing with a handful of products, and we want that simplicity. If we want to browse for another kind of product, we can either search by category and then product, or we can look at a specific price list for the laboratory that we work with, and we can select an actual product from that price list. So let's go ahead and order a lava crown, and we'll go through the process there. So initially we're shown a warning message about drawings, which I'll take you through in a moment. But in essence, all the dentist needs to do is select the teeth that they want to order a product by. In this case, we've got the upper left 6 and 7. We could confirm occlusal contact, pontic design, embrasure, any details there at all that we might want. We obviously need to fill out the shade if we want to order a crown that has a shade element to it. And then of course we can complete drawings to kind of help guide the laboratory in some way. So we've got two options here. We can either print the lab slip in the traditional method and actually hand draw on the lab slip itself, or within Cable we can actually draw directly within the within the tooth chart here. So let me just, I have to admit I'm no Picasso here, but let's just do a very simple drawing, and we'll see if we can actually get it to display something. So let's go with 2M1 here, and let's go with 2M2 here. Now, if we're not quite happy with something, we can just go in here and erase a piece of this, and really try and get it perfect, so that we're really happy with the instructions that we're sending across to the lab. And then once we're happy with it, then we can go ahead and add notes for that. So see additional drawings for further instructions. I need 2M1 on the top and 2M2 on the base, please. So the drawings we can go through, we can draw wherever we like. We can highlight the actual teeth that we've selected, or we can draw all sorts of things on here, and those are just going to be reproduced on the lab slip, and obviously they're going to be available digitally for the laboratory as well. So once we're happy with everything that we've selected, we can also review and add general notes to do with the order. In this case, we know we've selected a very short required by date, so let's give some explanation on that. So patient would like to come in ASAP, but can reschedule if the 17th is not possible. So we can add that note to our order as well. Now in this case, we can also save generic orders if generic notes, if we continually sort of asking the same thing, like can we work with a certain technician, or you know, we need this back urgently, or whatever, we can add those to that generic list, and then we can save those that way. We've also got an option here to save drafts. If the order's being placed by a dental nurse, say, and the dentist wants to review each order at a certain time of the day or whatever, they can save these orders as drafts ready for the dentist to review and approve. But in this case, let's just go ahead and confirm the product that we want to use, and then continue. So in this case, we've selected a crown, and Cable was able to review the laboratory's price list and see that they offer a few different types of crowns. In case one of those might be more appropriate, and we can obviously review the price differences between those products, which might be an important consideration for the patient. But in this case, let's just proceed with that option, and then let's add that as an order. So all we need to do is click proceed to check out, and literally that will create the order for us. So in this case, we can see we've added a couple in here, and for every order we can review the progress, the order details, the lab slip. But what I'm going to do here is go ahead and actually, I'm happy with that order. I know what I've put on there. I'm happy to go ahead and send that to the laboratory. So all I need to do is click set as sent to lab, and that will go ahead and send that order across to the laboratory for us. In this case, we're also prompted to print the lab slip so we can review what we've actually sent to the laboratory. Right, so this is the lab slip that has been created for us from the order that we placed. We can see we've got our drawing instructions here. We've also got the notes about the actual product. We've got all the selections that we made, and we've got the order notes about it coming back on the 17th. So that is everything that is going to be sent across to the laboratory. But in addition, the laboratory can log into the digital portal here and review the attachments or anything that's added since the order was originally placed. So in this case, that order has actually been sent to the lab. Now this particular lab is using LabTrack, and Cable has integrated with LabTrack such that order will automatically pipe through into the lab system. So it's significantly easier for the lab to process those orders because they automatically appear in their system. They appear immediately as soon as the dentist has placed the order, rather than the laboratory waiting until the orders come back in the post, which obviously gives them a time advantage as well. But what they can also do is progress that order automatically by using LabTrack. So when they process that order and set it as booked in, and when they dispatch it back to the practice, and even when they raise an invoice, all those details are automatically synced into Cable, so that there is a live environment here, so that the dentist and the laboratory can see exactly what each other is doing with that order. So we'll show you that happening in a second. But another element that I just wanted to bring to your attention here as well is the attachments. Now, obviously, we know we attached a photograph earlier, and the laboratory has the option of attaching files as well. So we'll give a demonstration of that in a minute. But in this case, the laboratory has actually added some 3D STL files. So these 3D files can be viewed through this screen, through this interactive 3D model. So this is available to the dentist immediately upon being uploaded by the laboratory, and can include a number of different 3D models as well. So in this case, the laboratory sent us the maxilla and the mandibular as well for us to review, but it may include a number of different 3D models if this was perhaps some stage work where we're going through various processes and we're showing what the structure will look like through all the different stages. So this might include a number of different 3D models in here, and each of these 3D models can be downloaded for potential further processing in other applications. They're in a industry standard STL format, so further processing can be done outside of Cable at your leisure. So as we said, when we're expanding an order, we can see not only any attachments that have been added, including ones we've added and ones that have been added by the laboratory, we can also see the various stages that the order's gone through. In this case, this order's only been approved. But actually, if we went back and saw something that had been received back to the practice, we can see it was approved on this day, it was sent to the lab on that day, and then it was finally received by the practice on that day. So we have full visibility on everything that's happened to every order directly at this stage, and it's made quite clear to the dentist. So in addition to the order entry process that we just saw, once the order is progressed by the laboratory and dispatched back to the practice, the dentist has the option to review all details about the order and confirm that they're happy with it and they accept the order, and even approve any invoices that have been raised for it. So that's done through a facility that we call the order sign-off screen, and we prompt the dentist to complete the order sign-off for any order that's eligible to have that done. So in the screen we can review everything about the order, including who the dentist was and the practice. We can review the audit scores for the order. We can review those based on aesthetics, occlusions, margins and contact points, and that's an A to D scoring system. We can add any comments about the order, so whether the quality was good or bad or whatever. We can also review the status, the current status, which is received by practice, so we're waiting to complete this order. We can review who the laboratory was and any feedback we might have for the laboratory about this particular job, whether it was late or whether it was negative or positive or whatever, and any comments. So this feedback is purely for the laboratory. It's confidential information. It's just for the laboratory to review their level of service and make sure they can improve. In addition to that, we can review what the order value was and what the invoice value was and any variance for that. We can prompt the laboratory at this stage to ask why there is a variance, because obviously we know what the order value should have been. And then if there is a variance, it might be, for instance, a precious metal cost, or it might be because following conversations between the dentist and the lab, the lab has changed some element of the order. And it's important for the dentist to have visibility on what those reasons are to make it easier for them to review their invoices and approve those invoices for payment. On that, the invoices that have been raised for this order are visible in this screen here, and we can simply approve them and we can view them directly from this page. So in this case, we can see it's our Dr. Tony Badfit, and we ordered an All-Cerome crown for which 3 of them for which we were charged £312. So we know what the invoice is, and we can obviously review that detail and approve those invoices. We've got an auto approval feature as well, whereby the dentist, if they don't want to have to go through this process every time, they can automatically approve invoices for payment, and that's an option that the dentist has to go through.